Hello, fellow biologists, it's Justin again. Ever since our last lesson, I've been measuring all kinds of things. The length of my shadow, the mass of an ant, how high Lucy could jump when tempted with a laser pointer. Just before this, I was actually measuring the strawberry plants in my garden. I've never grown them before, so I've been measuring their height. That way I can keep track of their progress over time. The problem is, I'm having trouble keeping track of all of the things I'm measuring. How do I organize it all? Well, in today's lesson, we'll figure out how as we describe how journals and tables are used by scientists, explain the 3 types of graphs, and create and analyze our own graph to form a conclusion. Let's get into it. Data organization refers to the process of arranging data in a way that makes sense and is easy to understand.
Think of it like organizing a messy closet. When everything has a place and is neat and tidy, it's easier to find what you need.
Similarly, when data is organized, it's easier to see patterns and draw conclusions from it. That's where journals and tables come in.
Just like you might write in a diary or a journal to keep track of important events, scientists use journals to record important data.
Now, what if I want to organize my data in a clear, easy-to-read format? For that, I would use a table. A table is a list of important information that is organized into columns and rows. Let's create a table for the data that I've been collecting about my strawberry plants.
We'll need a column for time, or the number of weeks since the seeds were planted, and a column for the height of each plant. Notice how I've included units in my table as well. Now to add the actual data. Okay, we're getting somewhere. However, this is a lot of data to take in all at once, so I'll record the average height of my strawberry plants as well. Now the results are a lot easier to understand.
But organizing data is only part of the story. We also need to be able to analyze it in order to draw conclusions. That's where graphs come in. There are 3 common types of graphs that scientists use: bar graphs, line graphs, and pie charts.
A bar graph is a way to compare data that's organized into categories. For example, if I was comparing the number of different types of trees in my neighborhood, I might use a bar graph to show how many of each there are. A line graph is used to show how data changes over time. For example, a line graph could show how the temperature changes over the course of a day. Finally, a pie chart is used to show how a whole is divided into parts. For example, a pie chart could show us what percentages of fish in an aquarium are different colors.
Okay, so now that we know about the types of graphs, how do we make our own? The first step is choosing which type of graph is appropriate for our data. Let's say I want to graph the height of my strawberry plants over time. Which graph do you think will work best in this scenario? Pause the video here and write down your thoughts in your guided notes. Because I'm measuring change over time, a line graph is best.
Let's look at the structure of a line graph. Line graphs have 2 axes, an x-axis and a y-axis. The x-axis runs horizontally, or side to side, and the y-axis runs vertically, or up and down. The x-axis is home to our independent variable, or the variable we have the independence to manipulate or change. Looking at our data, we had control over when we measured the strawberry plants, so we'll label the x-axis time, making sure to include the unit of measurement as well. The y-axis always contains the dependent variable, or the variable that is measured. In this case, we have measured the average height of the strawberry plants, so we'll title our y-axis average height, again, including our unit of measurement. All right, our axes are now titled, but they're still missing something: numbers. The number scales we use will have a big impact on how our graph looks, so we need to choose them carefully. Let's start with the y-axis. Based on the data, what numbers should we use to label the y-axis? Maybe 0 through 20? Well, the highest number in our data set is 12.6, so that means we'd have a ton of empty space at the top if the scale goes all the way to 20. We can't do 0 to 10 because it wouldn't fit all of our data points. Let's go with 0 to 14, that should work nicely. For the x-axis, my data shows 10 weeks, so I'll label this axis from 0 to 10. All right, our graph is coming together. Let's go ahead and add a title as well. The title should clearly tell anyone reading the graph what the graph is about. What if I labeled it Strawberry Plants? Do you think this is a good title? Pause the video and write your thoughts in your guided notes. Strawberry plants is not very specific. It makes me wonder, what about strawberry plants? To be more specific, we could instead title it Average Height of Strawberry Plants Over Time. Now we simply have to plot the points from our table into our graph. This gives us a great visual representation of the relationship between plant height and time. Go ahead and pause the video to plot these points on the graph in your notes.
Once we have our graph, it's time to analyze the data. Data analysis is the process of looking at data and trying to draw conclusions from it. While doing this, scientists look for relationships between variables, also known as correlations. Variables can be correlated in different ways. Some variables will increase together, like how heart rate increases with exercise. Other times, one variable will increase as the other decreases, like how the amount of light in the ocean decreases as the depth increases. Finally, there could also just be no correlation at all, like how we'd see no pattern if we graphed the correlation between a dog's eye color and the length of their fur.
Do you think there's a correlation between the height of my strawberry plants and time? If you said yes, then you're correct. The height of the plants increases as time increases.
And with that, we have covered the basics of organizing and analyzing data.
To recap, journals and tables are extremely valuable tools for keeping track of data. Graphs assist with data analysis by allowing us to see possible correlations within data more easily. Finally, when choosing a type of graph, keep in mind that bar graphs show number comparisons, pie charts depict parts of a whole, and line graphs show changes over time.
In our next lesson, we'll be wrapping up this unit as we discuss the importance of clearly communicating scientific results. Until then, I'm Justin, and remember, life is full of wonders, so keep learning and don't ever stop wondering.
Hey!